we are about to get some fascinating information about the WNBA, women's sports, and Caitlin Clark. Okay? She is now 2 technical fouls away from an automatic WNBA suspension. Now listen, not only are the Fever and Caitlin Clark trying to push for the playoffs, which it seems like for the most part, outside of a complete collapse, they should get into the playoffs, which would be massive, absolutely massive for the viewership and the revenue and the popularity for the WNBA. More important, more than anything, just the financial incentives to get her into the playoffs, especially what the networks want. Because believe me, all the big networks, ABC, ESPN, wherever the games are streaming and whatnot, they need Caitlin Clark there. They have, and believe me, ESPN, they're saying, get Caitlin Clark on TV, get her on TV, get her on TV. Maybe. Because she is 2 fouls away from suspension. She's going for a record to break the all-time assist record, which is still something that they're strangely barely talking about. Why this hasn't been a whole phenomenon, why this isn't something that they're constantly talking about, that this is what Caitlin Clark is chasing. She's chasing literal history, not unlike what they kept doing with Angel Reese with her forced double-double record. The fact that they're not doing that with Caitlin Clark is insane. I've already talked about that in a previous video, but it still needs to be repeated. It's insanity that that's not being promoted heavily and talked about and discussed to help get people to watch and just build up the myth and the popularity of Caitlin Clark. But now she got a technical foul for something that was an absolute joke. I have the clip here. It's a very short clip. We'll take a look at it. Apparently the ref said that she was disrespecting the game.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the 3 and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball. So I don't know. It reminded me of the technical that I got in college where I said, damn it, where it's like a personal frustration. Had nothing to do with my team, had nothing to do with their reffing, had nothing to do with other team. It was just because I'm a competitor and I felt like I should have been making more shots. So, but I think he fired me up to continue to play a lot harder. I thought we got a lot better after he did that. So I want to thank him.
So it's just kind of crazy because if we think that the WNBA actually wants to stop her, we're going to see if she gets another 2 technicals. It's going to be really, really interesting. Because if the WNBA wants Caitlin Clark to, 1, not break that record, or 2, maybe not even reach the playoffs, these next 2 games are going to be interesting to see if she gets another technical or 2. Because if she does, that would be utter insanity. First off, the fact that technical wasn't rescinded, I don't know exactly what the rules are for the WNBA in terms of rescinding technicals, but they do it in the NBA. That shouldn't have been a technical. She didn't do anything. She didn't disrespect the game. Get out of here with that nonsense. Like, what are we talking about? Do we want Caitlin Clark to just, like, have a bow in her hair and just be like, oh, well, gee golly, I'm so grateful to be in the WNBA. Thank you, mister. Like, what are we talking about here? She is the WNBA. Disrespecting the WNBA? Disrespecting the WNBA. This is what disrespecting the WNBA is. An 1,193% increase in jersey sales. 264% increase in total attendance. The top WNBA team in total home and away games. 38 national televised games. 10 of those broadcasts broke the viewership records for those networks. ESPN, ABC, CBS, NBA TV. They're the most nationally viewed team. 1.8 million followers. Number 1 in the WNBA. 225% increase in partnerships. Largest number of team sponsors in the WNBA. And you want to say that she's disrespecting the game? That she's disrespecting the WNBA? She is the WNBA. She's literally smashing and breaking records every single game she plays. And she's actually getting people to watch the games. And you want to say that she's disrespecting the game? Do you know how insane you sound? That is utter insanity. Insanity. I'm like, I can't even make sense of it. We're living in a bizarro backwards world that someone can look at Caitlin Clark and say, what you did was disrespecting the game because she was upset with herself. She didn't say anything to the ref. She didn't take the ball and throw it into the stands. She showed who she is, a competitive, fierce athlete who has very high expectations of herself. We've seen Jordan do this. We've seen LeBron do this. We've seen Steph do this. We've seen every single great athlete ever do this. So the fact that that technical wasn't even rescinded is wild. Look at all that she's been able to accomplish all throughout here, and that's with the WNBA trying to work against her, and media companies for that matter. And yet they still can't stop her. The one way that they could stop her is through these technicals. Now listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. When I make a claim, I like there to be true, concrete proof for it, or try my best to infer the best I can. So I'm not going to come here and say, this is what the WNBA is trying to do. That's too tinfoil hat for me. I'm going to be like, I'm going to wait and see. I want to see. That technical should have been rescinded, no doubt about it. And I want to see if they have a short leash on her now. If there's a play where she gets fouled and she doesn't get the call, and she goes, what the heck? And they tee her up. I'm really curious. I'm curious if she tries to, keep her mouth shut a little bit. If she tries to not bait the refs at all. Because it's just going to be really interesting. She's obviously not Draymond Green out there. So it's just going to be interesting. How much does she flirt with getting another two technicals, and getting suspended? Because I know the networks, even though ESPN and ABC and some of the conversations around Caitlin Clark haven't been the most positive, they want those viewerships. They want and need Caitlin Clark in the playoffs. And they need deep runs. For those of you who don't know, the way how these networks run, and I'm going to use baseball and basketball, NBA and baseball as an example. The way how they make all their money is actually when series go 6, 7 games. 5, 6, 7 games. It's when there's a sweep is when these networks can lose money. Because the way how advertising works and the way how packages are sold, these networks make an insane amount more money when they have game 6s and game 7s in the playoffs. So a sweep is devastating, truly devastating for these networks. Because this is the playoffs, these are the moments, this is where all the advertising money's coming into now. So a game 6 and game 7 for the networks, it's a parade. It's a party. I mean, you talk to people who work intimately with those networks, they talk about what it's like when there's a sweep. It's uncomfortable. It's we're not getting bonuses this year. So this WNBA money for the playoffs, better believe Caitlin Clark in the playoffs, especially if she can have a deep run, people are going to be glued to it. People are going to watch it. They're going to be talking about it. They're going to be obsessed with it. The ratings will go through the roof. And when ratings go through the roof, the money goes through the roof. So they want it too. It's just smart business. But I don't know if the WNBA wants it. Because they didn't work for this growth. They don't want it to be because of Caitlin Clark. And again, I don't think that there's powers that be. I don't think the WNBA, whoever the face would be in this, little example where they're letting the refs know you better, get Caitlin Clark suspended, right? It doesn't work like that. I know some people are going to think that. I don't believe that personally, okay? And I don't think you need to either. I think they have been harsh on Caitlin Clark. I think there is a lot of weird political stuff that goes on within the WNBA, but I don't think that there's a master conspiracy, just more of we really don't want this to be Caitlin Clark. We really want it to be someone else. But I don't think that's leading them to being okay, well, let's just keep giving her technicals and then she'll get suspended. We'll keep her out of the playoffs, or we'll keep her from breaking the record. I don't think it's that bad. So we don't have to go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole too deeply. We can stick to the reality, we can stick to the facts. But like I've highlighted in previous videos, go to popular women's sports blogs, and there's nothing even of Caitlin Clark. They'll talk about Asia Wilson, they'll talk about Brittany Griner, they'll talk about Angel Reese, but not Caitlin Clark. So there are powers that be against her. Undeniable. So I'm really, really curious to see how this unfolds. To see if she gets another technical or two. And see if they try to take something away from her. Because again, if she gets another 2 technicals and gets suspended, this technical clearly should not have been a technical. This clearly should have been rescinded after the fact. So let's just wait and see. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Caitlin Clark will end up getting suspended? Do you think the WNBA... I don't even want to ask the question. Do you think the WNBA has a hand in it? Because I truly do not think they do. But yeah, do you think she can break the record? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.